You're listening to Wiretap with Jonathan Goldstein on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius XM. Today's episode, Apples versus Oranges.
For years, what have you been begging me, Johnny?
Hey, Gregor.
You've been begging me. You said, get me out of the cesspool of my life. Get me out of this rotten trap that I'm in.
No.
Get me out of radio. Guess what, Johnny? Tom's River Ford. Ever heard of it?
No.
It's one of the biggest Ford dealers in the whole Atlanta area, and they want you to do their TV spot. That's right. I didn't say radio spot. I said television.
I didn't even know that my radio show plays in Atlanta.
It doesn't. They don't know who you are.
Well, then...
It's got nothing to do with your radio show. You don't have a speaking part.
Well, then how...
You're wearing a gorilla suit. I called in a favor. This is my brother-in-law's place. He's got a small car dealership. He's doing some local TV spots. And normally, he wears a gorilla costume himself. But he's gained a little weight. I said, I know someone who'll fit in a petite ape costume.
You're going to have me get into a gorilla costume.
A gorilla is a very dignified primate. It's like one twist of the double helix away from being a college professor.
I'm not interested.
This is a big step up for you. I told him that you could play ape. Only instead of you hurling your feces in your cage, you're going to be hurling coupons.
I'm going to be in a cage.
Yeah, you're going to be in a cage. You can't have a wild ape running around.
I'm not a wild ape.
You know what happened when Robert De Niro was up for the part in Raging Bull? He followed around Rocky Marciano for like 3 months. He lived with them and his wife. That's how he got into the role. If you're going to be an ape, you got to get into the role of ape.
So what are you saying, that I should hang out at the zoo?
No, you shouldn't hang out at the zoo. I'm going to lock you in the ape cage at the zoo.
Listen.
I'm going to put you in the ape costume. You're going to bond with them. Maybe you'll even mate with them.
Okay, look.
The point is, you got to get into the character.
I don't want to do TV.
Can I explain something to you about the difference between TV and radio?
Yeah.
TV is better than radio.
How can you make a statement like that? I mean, that's like comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, exactly. I compare apples to oranges all the time. Oranges win. It's an expression people use. Like
yes,
they say,
oh,
look, this parking spot is better than that one. It's like the apples parking spot. This is the oranges parking spot. One's better than the other.
I really think you're missing the point of that analogy.
Oh, really?
Yes. Saying comparing apples to oranges means that you're comparing two things that don't bear comparison.
What are you, crazy? They're both fruit. What do you think, the International Geneva Convention on Fruit said you can't compare apples to oranges? Why would you not be able to compare two different things? That's the whole idea of comparison. What does an apple grow up and dream of becoming? Applesauce? You know what apples dream of?
What?
Growing up to be oranges.
You
know, it is so typical of you that you would defend apples.
I'm not defending. That's not the point.
What do apples have? Apples have been coasting on pie for years.
This really, really is completely ridiculous.
Okay, I'll tell you what. This is ridiculous. Right now, let's throw down. I'll take the side of oranges. You take the side of apples. I win. You have to do the TV spot. Go. Oranges. They're a better color than apples. Your turn. Point for me.
This is really, really not the point. Okay, fine. Apple has a record label and a computer company. What does Orange have named after it besides a city in New Jersey?
What do you have against New Jersey? It's the birthplace of Bruce Springsteen. How dare you disparage the boss? How dare you? All right, so far the score is me +1, you -2. Go.
All right, there's a lot more different types of apples. When you walk into a grocery store, there's a whole wall of them.
Let me tell you something about apples, my sad friend. You know what happens to an apple the minute you cut it in half? It turns brown, like your rotten, sad, oxidized life.
I mean, that speaks of a spirit of carpe diem. You have to eat it right away.
Carpe diem. Oranges have an enormous history. Apples were just invented like 10 minutes ago.
Where do you get that from? Was there ever a Johnny Orange seed?
No. I'll tell you some things about your beloved Johnny Appleseed. Johnny Appleseed was running naked through the woods. Did you know that? Maybe you ought to look it up, because it's true. He was a drunk and he was a nudist. Apple. What does Apple have? Nothing.
What keeps the doctor away?
Good genetics. Now, oranges. You know what happens if you drink orange juice? I'll tell you what. You're full of vitality and health.
All right, okay.
Had enough, Johnny? Because it seems to me like I won. In the case of apples v. oranges, I find apples are guilty. Finally. This argument is settled. Mankind can stop arguing. Everyone can relax and have a cup of orange.
No one was ever arguing about this.
You know what the Crips and the Blood Oranges fought about? They fought about oranges versus apples.
They're not called the Blood Oranges.
Yeah, they call themselves the Bloods for short, but they're talking about blood oranges.
That is not true.
So the matter is settled. Oranges are better than apples. Ergo, television is better than radio.
I don't know how you've just arrived at
that. And as a result of this finding, you will put on a gorilla costume and you will dance around when he says banana.
I am not putting on a gorilla costume.
I already said yes to these people, and they already sent the gorilla suit to a tailor to have it let around in the hips, because I told them you're a little big around the hips.
What? That is not true.
Don't worry, the effect is very slimming. I'm getting you some Spanx and a truss. You're going to fit right in there.
I'm not doing this commercial.
Our prices are bananas. Can you do that thing where you tickle your own armpits? Because I love it with gorilla.